Hey everyone, how's it going? So yeah, that was a pretty crazy episode of The Walking Dead. This is my review for episode 7. We finished on a pretty big cliffhanger. I would say that this episode was probably, or I mean, not probably, I think this is my favorite episode of the season. Sadik's story in tonight's episode was absolutely amazing. I really liked this character. With what happened at the end and everything that happened throughout, I have a lot of questions, a lot of things I want to talk about surrounding Sadik, and there's also some stuff I want to talk about surrounding the Whisperer Wars and potential weaknesses within that group. So before we jump in, I do have to warn you for spoilers, obviously, for tonight's episode, major spoilers because some pretty big things happened in tonight's episode. And also, if you're new to the channel, make sure to be a subscriber if you want more Walking Dead content like this. I know I've been pretty absent the last month or so, which also I do want to mention that Q&A that I was supposed to post a couple days ago. I'm going to be posting that on Wednesday, and so I will be taking questions surrounding episode 7. I know some people already posted some questions about episode 7, but I'm going to include a few more just to make it make more sense because episode 7 just aired, obviously. And yeah, so that Q&A will be out this Wednesday. I'm super hyped for the mid-season finale. There's going to be so much stuff to talk about. It's the last episode of 2019. There's going to be, I'm sure, some kind of announcements coming soon, I would expect, for the Rick Grimes movies. Maybe not. I figured Gimple would announce something by the mid-season finale, but who knows? Maybe he's going to be on Talking Dead next week, or maybe they're just saving all the announcements for January, February next year for when The Walking Dead does return, because when it does return next February, it's going to come back really big. And I mean really big because there's so much happening in that second half of the season. But yeah, if you want more Walking Dead content like that, discussions and all of that, just make sure to be a subscriber. So since I have given the spoiler warning, I can talk about the big death that happened in tonight's episode. And it was what I was thinking it was going to be. It was Sadik's death. I didn't think it was going to happen in the way it happened, though. That's the weird thing when it comes to spy theories, is the last few years there has been so many spy theories. Enid is a spy, Sadik was a spy, and there are a few other characters that were spies. The Dante theory seemed a little bit more credible, but was still very off, I would say. I think tonight introduced a lot of stuff that really gave a lot more credibility to that theory. I think beforehand, it was just kind of really a random theory. The stuff that we got with Dante in tonight's episode really built up to the ending. I knew where they were going after it was revealed that Dante mixed up the medicine or whatever, and as soon as that happened, I was like, okay, yeah, Dante definitely, he's not who he claims to be anyways. And yeah, Sadik's death at the end. I mean, it shocked me. I was completely shocked when I saw that, because this character is a really amazing character. I wasn't that big of a fan of him in the beginning, only because he was introduced because of Carl, right? And we'll talk about that in a second. Does his death affect Carl's legacy and all that? Because I see a lot of comments on that. We'll talk about that in a second. But the Sadik character, I never really liked that much in season 8, just because you're trading Carl for this random character, basically, right? Carl's dying. You're removing a character as big as Carl, who is Rick Grimes' son, for this random character. I know he was in the comic, but he was this random character that kind of came out of nowhere. So I wasn't the biggest fan in season 8, but I wasn't the biggest fan of a lot of characters in season 8. In season 9, things changed a lot, and Sadik definitely grew on me. I started to really like him throughout that season, but I really think it was the season 9 finale where I was like, I love this character. I just love this character. Avi Nash, if I'm saying his name correctly, he's just incredible as his character. And to see Sadik's journey throughout the entire series, I guess, or not the entire series, the last few seasons, it's incredible. That character definitely grew into something really amazing. Of course, I should have expected this because he's a doctor, right? No doctors can survive on The Walking Dead. But overall, I really enjoyed this character, and I'm happy that he died in tonight's episode, mostly because, again, I've been saying this for a long time. I really like when characters are really amazing characters and they only stick around for 2 or 3 seasons. Because if you overstay your welcome on a show, if you're a side character, I think people will just get annoyed of you. I mean, a good example is Tara, right? I mean, I didn't hate Tara as much as most people did. I don't really even hate Tara, but she definitely overstayed her welcome. She stayed on the show for a very long time. It made no sense. The characters that are more side characters, like Carol and Daryl, I guess they're not side characters anymore. They kind of were, I would argue, back in season 1 and 2, but after Shane was gone and Laurie was gone, they became more lead characters. A good example, I would say, is Jesus. That character, he was introduced in season 6 and he died in season 9, so he was around for technically 4 seasons, if you're including 6, 7, 8, and 9. And I think his time on the show, I look back at that character and I really like that character. He definitely deserved more during the All Out War arc, that's for sure, but with what we got with him in the mid-season finale of season 9, he was awesome. Seriously, he was such an awesome character. Sadik, I like just as much. I'm going to put Sadik up there on that pedestal. He's a really amazing character. Now on, how does his death affect Carl's legacy and stuff like that? I really don't see there being an issue. This was my whole thing about the whole, the reason that Carl died for this character was that I didn't like the idea that Sadik was just safe now, for the rest of the series. He needed to live because he was a representation of what Carl believed in. I know some people are going to disagree with me on that. They probably want Saddik to live because of just what it meant for Carl. But for one, I already disagreed with Carl's reasoning for wanting to help Saddik anyways, because that just kind of came out of nowhere for the character. And I also don't like to think that a character is just destined to survive because he serves some kind of plot purpose or important plot purpose in the past. It's like, that's not really how life goes. The Walking Dead likes to mimic real life. That's why the show is super exciting. And I just overall, I don't think this affects Carl's legacy. I mean, Carl's legacy could be Alexandria. There's a lot of things with what Carl did. It's not just this one character. I think Saddik is his own character. I don't think he should really be attached to Carl in any way. And yeah, I'm going to miss that character. I think if anything, Saddiq's legacy is going to be like Rosita and Coco. I mean, I'm always going to remember his final speech like he did at the end of season 9. That was just really amazing. But yeah, I'm going to miss this character. That was such a crazy ending. I was kind of expecting it because it was right at the end and I was like, okay, something's going to happen here. And yeah, well, you know, he dies by the hands of Dante, and we'll talk about Dante and all that kind of stuff towards the end of this video. I want to get into some of the Lydia stuff now and the idea of the Whisperers. And I do think there's a weakness there because Lydia suggests to Carol, and that was introduced in this episode, and I do think is going to play a role for the rest of the season in terms of dealing with the Whisperers. But Lydia suggests that if you just prove to the Whisperers that an idea like living in Alexandria can work, that is very dangerous to Alpha. Like, that is probably the most effective way to destroy the Whisperers, because if you can actually make them believe that Alexandria, that Hilltop, that communities like that can work, they will gravitate towards that. They will abandon that lifestyle. Alpha poisons the minds of all these people. I mean, she really manipulates all of them. We saw that with Gamma. Like, Gamma's a character where I can see why they introduced her in the Whisperers, because she's that character that's going back and forth. I mean, with what we saw in tonight's episode with Aaron, like, she's not as committed to the Whisperers as we were thinking. It's so funny because when they first introduced her, I thought she was going to be like the psychotic Whisperer who was so loyal to Alpha. We got a little bit of that early on, I guess, with her sister and stuff like that. But obviously, her meeting with Aaron and seeing all of this stuff is definitely changing her. Also, seeing Lydia alive, that has changed a lot. I really can't wait to see what's going to happen in the mid-season finale. I mean, something big is going to happen. Is Alpha going to die? I don't know. We'll talk about that in my next trailer breakdown for the mid-season finale. That should be coming up within like an hour or so. But yeah, some really important stuff there with Gamma. It seems like the big thing, and obviously Dante already knew, although I don't even know if Dante knew. Did Dante ever see Lydia? Does Dante know that Lydia is alive, or I guess why doesn't Lydia recognize Dante? I guess maybe she wouldn't. There's probably a lot of them, right? I don't know. That whole thing there is a little weird, but I do like that Carol's plan actually worked. Like, Carol wanted to show that Whisperer that, no, look, Lydia is alive, so Alpha is lying to you. Of course, Dante killed that Whisperer, and then she obviously had another plan showing Gamma that Lydia was alive. That did happen, and yeah, Lydia freaked out about that, and I really did like that scene. Lydia just like hit Carol. I wasn't expecting that. And then she's like, you're just like her, like you're just using me. And she's like, oh, you want me to pick a side? Okay, I'm gonna pick a side. And I guess she says she joined for herself, but then she goes runs in Whisperer territory. I feel like it was probably safer to just run away in her territory, but then again, Carol would probably chase her, right? I don't know how Alpha's gonna deal with that. Like, if a Whisperer finds Lydia and Alpha sees Lydia again, what is Alpha gonna do? That's the crazy thing, because Alpha, I mean, she kind of screwed herself over by telling everyone that Lydia's dead, just because if Lydia ever turns up at their camp, she has to explain that, and I think people are going to be really pissed off about that. Beta will too. That's the thing. Beta's going to be absolutely pissed off at Alpha. So that's what we learned in tonight's episode, which I guess could have been pretty predictable, but I like the way they did it, which is the weakness within the Whisperers is their way of life, you know, and we can see that with Alpha. She's lying to them, and yeah, she's getting caught with her lies right now. Lydia's in that territory. Gamma just ran away. I have a feeling that they might meet up. I don't know. I haven't watched the trailer for next week's episode, but there's something there. Something is happening. But yeah, tonight's episode, I really, really enjoyed it. The whole Saddik and Dante thing, I mean, wow. Absolutely amazing. This is Angela Kang at her best. Well, actually, I don't even think this is Angela Kang at her best. This is a storyline she's been building to for a while, and she just did it really amazingly. I mean, I really enjoyed tonight's episode. I'm gonna miss the Saddik character. I am wondering if he actually did die, because it looked like it, but obviously we didn't see him die. He wasn't buried. There was no confirmation by the characters. So I have a question of, did he really die? Was he just, knocked out? He's probably dead though. Like, I'm thinking he's probably dead, but what's next for Dante? Because I remember a shot of Daryl punching someone, and I thought it was Dante originally, but as we progressed through the season, I was like, well, no, why would he be punching Dante? It would make no sense, blah, blah, blah. But after what happened in tonight's episode, it's like, no, I can see why Daryl would punch Dante. First of all, Daryl was in the room when it was revealed that Dante was the one that was responsible for the Whisperer's death. once he finds out what happened to Sadik's, I think Daryl's going to be very, very suspicious. And yeah, I think that's going to be the big thing within Alexandria next week's episode is there has to be a whisperer here. There has to be a spy here. I think it's going to be revealed. And then I think that's when the war starts within Alexandria. I think everyone there is going to be like, no, we're done. We're going after them. Dante's probably going to die, I would expect. It's so weird with that character. Like, that character is with Maggie in the comics, but he's a villain on the show. Like, that's one character that is completely different than who he is in the comic. But yeah, again, overall, I really liked tonight's episode. All the stuff with Sadik's and Rosita. I mean, Avi Nash. I hope he's able to return at some point to The Walking Dead and like a flashback or something like that. You know, I really like Sadik's as a character. But yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to rewatch this episode again. I really, really enjoyed it. But let me know what you guys all think. What did you think of tonight's episode? I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. Make sure to check out my trailer breakdown for the mid-season finale coming out within like an hour or two, probably like an hour, hour and a half. And yeah, I'll see you guys then.